Boring intro, 100 days, blah, 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 blah. Turtles. So everyone loves turtles, right? So that's why I'm stealing their eggs, so that way I can use it for a new project, because that's a good way to start every world. Just run back into it and immediately go, well, I'm in the mood to steal some turtle eggs. And then you go steal some turtle eggs and realize, well, now what? So now I have to start a project because I got the turtle eggs because I found turtles and made turtle eggs. So yeah, this is a fun way to start. Alright, we're gonna go on a little trip so that way we can find some new areas, because I need a certain biome for a new project. We found a pillager tower, which was really cool because I get to do a raid because now I finally have Bad Omen. I can't wait to do it back at my base where I have all my beacon powers and everything else, so that way it'll be super easy. Oh hey, a village! Wait a minute. So, because this village is right next to the warm ocean that I want to use for my new project, I now have to defend it and kill everything in it. So this took a day, because raids are long, I don't know, it just took a while. And yeah, it wasn't really that hard. I didn't get close to death or even pop a totem, because I'm just one of the best hardcore players, clearly. Alright, we found the area, but I did have to fly back to my base so I could set up a portal there that would instantly teleport me to the new area. It was just more efficient than going back and forth 20 times. Alright, so I found the area I wanted to build my new project, but I need the resources to build the project there. So I need quartz for that. And I don't feel like mining or waiting for villagers to restock, so I'm going to build a piglin farm, so that way I can farm zombie pigmen, and then I can trade with piglins to give me quartz. Because this is the most effective way of getting quartz instead of just making a bunch of villagers stonecutters. So that's why we're mining magma right now. So that way I can end up building the zombie piglin farm. Alright, we're building the pig farm now, which this was a pretty easy process. It was just very annoying because I had to crouch every second, otherwise the magma would hurt me, and that was kind of a pain to deal with. So, fun thing, I built the magma farm at the wrong level, so I had to change the entire farm and move it up to the build limit. Don't make this mistake if you're building it yourself. And yes, this is what I have done with all of the turtle eggs. They're going into this farm. You thought I was going to use them for something good and wholesome, didn't you? Incorrect. Today I tried to set up my first version of an ice boat road, but that didn't work because I didn't have that much ice, so I have to go get more ice so that way I can save myself some rockets because it is getting pricey. I did break bedrock today. I'm not entirely sure why. It was also in the wrong spot. I know that I needed piglins, but I don't really realize why I did in that specific spot, especially when I had a spot that was marked correctly. But yeah, if you see a hole in the bedrock, that's because I broke it. Alright, the farm is set up and it's kind of working, but it's not automatic. It's currently a manual farm, so I'm gonna try and fix that. And I also caught a piglin that I trade with, so that's cool. I was flying today and tried to look for some more icebergs, but I didn't end up actually finding anything, so I guess I'll find them tomorrow. I found the ice, but that's not important because look, I got more turtles and more turtle eggs. Finally, I can build a turtle army that I can use for more pigmen because I need more gold, because I always need more gold, but regardless, turtles. I spent all day doing the fun thing of placing ice because I was very sick of wasting unnecessary rockets when all I had to do was build an ice boat road. The hardest part was going and getting the ice, but since I did that, it was pretty easy after that. I built a ladder that goes to the top of the farm so that way I can get to the gold farm easier, and then I'm going to start moving the piglins up here so that way I can put a trading system so all the gold that gets made in the farm immediately gets outsourced into the other area where it'll immediately trade with the piglin. But to make it automatic, I have to go get some wither roses. So I have to kill a wither, which means I have to go back to the nether fortress and farm wither skeleton skulls, which is what I did today. For some reason, I thought that one of the best ideas to make things that the wither could kill would be iron golems. Not entirely sure why that's the mob I decided on, but I guess I didn't have any eggs, so I guess I have an excuse. Yeah, it didn't work at all. I tried to do the method, but the wither didn't really end up killing anyone. Damage anything that you want dead, unless it's like baby chickens or something. Damage all of the iron golems you plan on having killed. That's a message for basically myself, because I'm the only one stupid enough to use iron golems. But anyway, I went and farmed 3 more skulls, and then got the iron golems killed, so it all worked out in the end, and I ended up getting the wither roses I needed. Problem solved. Now the farm is automatic, and I don't have to worry about doing a thing. I spent most of the day just building a tube around my ladder to go up, so that way the piglin wouldn't fall off and end up dying. But the rest of the day was basically just spent trying to set up the area that he was going to go. Alright, Piglin's in there, and now I got to set up a system that's going to let gold go to him. I overcomplicated it, system didn't work, and then I realized I should probably just put a normal dropper in there, and that ended up working way better. I realized today that I could make a conduit, so I did, but then I realized that I needed prismarine for it, so I went out and decided I'm going to raid an ocean monument, so that way I can actually use this conduit over at the water area that I have. Yeah, raiding it was really easy. The most annoying part was the Elder Guardian rooms, which had like 2 or 3 guardians in them themselves, so they'd attack me, but as soon as I got rid of them, I could kill all the Elder Guardians, and then I looted the sponge room and stole all of their sponges and left. So it was overall pretty productive and very easy to raid. Well, now I have conduit powers right at the new ocean area. I got the outline set up today for an area that I'm gonna basically use to just be the base of operations. Like, I'm gonna move the portal in there, gonna have my temporary storage in there, and you know, all the other stuff. Just anything that I could need can be stored in this area. Since it's water, I decided that I was going to use the sponges I got from the ocean monument to drain it out. For anyone curious, I'm using smooth quartz and polished blackstone for the walls and outside. Trading's a tad too inefficient, so I've decided that the simplest solution is just for me to go gather quartz. Now you may be asking why I picked this specific spot of the entire ocean that I have to work with, and it's mostly just because of the shipwreck. I think it looks cool. That's it. I mean, there's not really a super convoluted explanation for it. I just think the shipwreck looks cool. I keep wasting my time mining when I could be trading with the villagers and making more stone cutters. So as you can see, I'm really using my brain for this. I had to smelt all the quartz that I wasted my time getting when I could have just smelted the quartz yesterday if I traded for the villagers. Wasted all of my time today trying to get a zombie villager to go in a hole. But I realized I didn't have any wood to make him fall into the hole, and I didn't want to hit him since he had hit me a couple times and my thorns armor had done some damage to him. So I tried to go and get some wood, but by the time I came back, the zombie villager ended up despawning. But even if I couldn't use a zombie villager, I decided that I was going to need villagers there anyway, so I started moving them over. And it wasn't really too difficult. For most of the thing, they would just kind of run away and wouldn't go to the workstation I put down, so that was pretty annoying, but other than that, I got them there pretty safely. I finished the outside of the walls today, so now I can start draining the inside of the base. Other than draining most of the area, today I just caught a zombie piglin, so now we have 2 zombie piglin, but I didn't move them because I didn't really feel like doing that today. Yeah, there's not much to talk about. It's mostly just running to the nether to make sponges dry, drain area, run back to the nether. It's pretty boring overall. Alright, we're almost halfway done, and right now I'm just focusing on draining the main ship. Alright, the main ship is all drained, so now it's time to start working on the rest of the area. Whoop-de-doo. Something entertaining. I had to run back to base today so I could do a restock, and I decided that I probably should start setting up some villagers at the new area. Considering that I already got them over there, it shouldn't be that hard to get them actual jobs. I might infect them, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Alright, we're finally done draining. I can start working on literally anything else. We're done. It's great. Cool. Yep. Epic. Super cool. Yep. Time to transport the villagers, which, what a fun task that was. I'm joking. It was pretty easy. They got in the boat pretty willingly, and then I just brought them in. No one took fall damage or did anything stupid, so yeah, that was nice. I also put another portal in the wall, which I think looks pretty sick. I ended up moving the conduit underneath my shipwreck, just because I thought that was a pretty good place to put it. I ended up adding some pufferfish in the back of the ship. I thought that just looked pretty cool, and then I put some glass in place so you can actually look at them. And I think this looks pretty neat. For the villagers, I tried to recreate something that looked like an ocean ruin, but it didn't really end up working that well, so I just decided to turn it into a castle. And then I built a side shed for the turtles. I had a nice building, and then I realized in order to get a lot of villagers in here, I was going to need to build a breeder. So I decided, yeah, this building's way too small, and I built a big, ugly stone brick box on the side of the thing, just so that way I could breed some more villagers for the automatic breeder. Then I immediately started work on the automatic breeder, which wasn't really that hard to set up. I just had to run back and forth from my base so that way I could end up getting all of the potatoes that I was going to need. And if you don't know why I'm using potatoes, it's because it's one of the most efficient sources. With wheat, they have to make bread with it, so it's a bit too slow. Carrots don't give you as many as potatoes, so that's just why I prefer to use potatoes in my breeders. And now we have our first baby villager of the town, so now we can start with the automatic breeder. I just need to grab one more villager. I didn't feel like waiting on the villagers to breed another villager, so I decided to just go to a nearby town and commit a kidnapping. The automatic villager breeder is all done, and now it's time for me to work on basically just finding a place for them to live. I built them the comfiest of homes, a stone brick box. I went out and found some mangrove trees today, so now I have access to mangrove trees and mangrove fruits, so that's pretty cool. Today I spent most of the day just cleaning out my shulker boxes and putting them back in chests, so that way I can go back to my base and grab some necessary stuff, like stuff for a beacon. Today was basically spent just going back to my base and grabbing stuff that I was gonna need for later, and then I grabbed it and brought it back, and that's basically took me the entire day. Today I basically just fixed up the ship and made it look very nice, so I thought it looked pretty good. I put a haste 2 beacon down at bedrock right in the middle of the ship, so now there's a cool beam coming out of it as well. I started putting in an area that would act as a center hub of the entire base, so the idea was that I could put a fish tank in the middle just because I thought that would look cool. Most of my days consist of waking up, figuring out what I'm gonna add on to the base that day, and then trading with the villagers so that way I can get the necessary quartz. Today was just spent extending the tunnel so that way I can reach the main hub area. At the base, I decided that it was time to move the portal just because it was pretty inconvenient every time I'd come through having to walk up the entire base, so that way I could just get to the one spot I was going, which was usually the villagers. So I decided that it was just more convenient to move it upwards. Today I started setting up a new area where a lot of farms are gonna end up going. I really need an iron farm since I'm not at the base much. The iron farm there isn't running, so I have to get an iron farm here so that way something's actually being produced. Working on the second area, that means I needed more blackstone, so I went and mined 8 stacks, and that still wasn't enough. I was short by like 10 blackstone, which annoyed me, but I got it eventually. Along with fixing my previous mistakes when outlining the base of the second area, I also moved the conduit for like the 3rd or 4th time, so that's fun. I spent most of the day cleaning up all the random blocks that ended up surrounding my area. Specifically the blocks that I used to place the other quartz blocks on top of the base. I started to put on the top layer of quartz today, but I ended up running out because I didn't have enough. I started to get villagers that I was going to need for the future iron farm. The idea was that I could just bring them over there and then slab up the entire thing so that way I could spawn them inside. The only issue is I didn't know if the water on the outside of the base would keep the iron golems from spawning there. They might just spawn out in the ocean, which could be a problem. I finished a quarter of the top today and started draining out the area. Now I actually have some area that I can actually start storing stuff in and using this place as a viable area for a farm. I already used all of the interesting commentary for the first time I started to drain stuff, so don't really expect me to say too much now. I drained half of the area. Interesting commentary! I need to make a personal note for 500 days to make a netherite hoe with efficiency 5. We're getting there. We only have a quarter of the area left to do. Alright, I finally finished with draining. Now we can do more fun stuff. I mean, I guess it depends on your term of interesting because button placing is not very entertaining. Still gonna make you watch it though because I'm just a great YouTuber. Listen, if the villagers ask you anything, I did not steal 2 sheep today. Just, it never happened. Other than a kidnapping, I did set up an area for more kidnapping and for them to make me iron. Moving the villagers is actually pretty easy because I have some of them that actually don't have jobs, unlike literally everyone else which I either sell iron or buy quartz from. My plan is to have multiple villagers, so that way I can have a zombie in a minecart go around and around, so that way it'll spawn twice the amount of iron golems that it should. Today I set up a second villager pod and started to work on the railway that would take the zombie around and around, terrorizing the villagers, so that way they'd give me iron. Most of the day was spent just trying to get the railroad to work without me having to push the cart. It kept slowing down, so instead of just putting more powered rails, I just moved all the powered rails to the corners, and that seemed to fix the issue. I spent tons of time getting a huss to follow me over to the base so I could put him in the railroad, so that way he'd terrorize the villagers, but I accidentally fell and he ended up going straight to the iron golem and getting destroyed. So it was a really worthwhile way to spend my limited time in these 100 days. I got the huss skin eventually, but now I have a new issue, which is the iron golem keeps following him around, so I gotta put in the water source. Originally, I was planning on using portals, then I realized, oh yeah, I don't have that much time left in these couple days, so I stopped the idea of using obsidian and immediately just went, yeah, I'm just gonna use the normal water source method. I did get the collection system set up as well. After finishing up the spawn proofing that I needed to do, the entire farm was basically finished and started working on its own, so that's pretty nice. Now, at the farm, I was trying to improve it at night because the villagers were sleeping and the zombie wasn't causing them any fear. So I had to move their workstations, which caused me a lot of scares because I left the back door open on accident, which means they could just run away and I'd have to get them back in there, which was a pain I didn't want to deal with. So I was very scared the entire time the zombie kept coming around. Now, if you gotten to the point in this video and realized that you still don't know what I'm trying to make or what the entire point of the other area is, well, the idea is that's going to be my brand new base. The old base, I'm just abandoning it because of a couple of reasons, but the main reasons being I can't put lighting on the floor. Yeah, I know, it's a great reason to abandon the entire base you spent all of 400 days working on. It's very reasonable, I know. So, yeah, we're just gonna be moving the entire base, and today I decided that I was gonna take down the auto smelter and start moving that. I realized that if I was gonna move a lot of my base, I might as well go grab a bunch of shulker boxes just to speed up the process. I'm still gonna need tons and tons more, but I guess this works for now. I got about 11. I decided that the middle of my base was gonna be the area where I wanted my entire storage system based around, because I thought it'd be cool if you could throw all this stuff in the middle of the entire base and everything would just automatically get sorted. So I had to start digging out the area for it, and I put the auto smelter down there. I dug down to bedrock again for like the 7th or 8th time in this entire series. You'll never guess what it was for. It was a beacon. It was just another Haste 2 beacon. I started setting up the auto smelter today, but didn't end up finishing it, so I guess I'm gonna have to worry about that tomorrow. I finished the auto smelter today and realized that the iron farm really wasn't that efficient, so I ended up killing all of the villagers and then just building the system like I had back in my old base. I did end up wasting some time putting bamboo into the auto smelter just because it wasn't generating enough bamboo yet, just because I had set it up the day before, but I still had glass that I needed to get smelted, so I had to do it manually. Considering the iron farm works way better now, I think that it's time that I take down the railroad, so that's what I did today. Now that I have some glass, I can actually start installing it and making a larger dome around the central hub of my entire base. Also, I realized that the iron farm wasn't working during a couple of these days just because I had my simulation distance down. So if you have a large base expanding across of a pretty big area, I suggest that you turn your simulation distance up so that way it can help with loading in like farms and things like that. I started digging out the area that I was going to need in 600 days for my eventual auto sorting system, which I planned on this one being way more permanent and also in a better position, because the other one, it was hard to expand without hitting the limit walls. If I buried this one underground, it's not really got a limit to it. But yeah, for this project, I'm going to need to dig a large area, so this is going to be a couple days of digging. I realized that all the torches in my base look pretty bad, so I decided that I was going to go raid a second ocean monument, because why not? I wanted to go steal all the sea lanterns, and it only took me about a day to get every Elder Guardian in the building dead, but after that, I could just start taking their sea lanterns and got about over a stack. Along with putting sea lanterns into my base today, I decided that it was time to finally fix my one weird wall of the entire base. If you haven't noticed, I haven't really shown this wall off much, but there was a block that was 1 block too long. So it ended up being 2 blocks, 2 blocks, and then 3 blocks, as the rest of my base was 3 blocks, 2 blocks, 2 blocks. So I just had to shift the entire wall, and it ended up looking pretty nice in the end. That was a fun side detour, but I still got to get back to digging. I finished the dome today, which means I have all the space that I get to do the fun thing of draining, which is how I want to spend the last 10 days of the series. Yippee. I may have lied about the iron farm, saying the area works, and I just need to turn my simulation distance up. Yeah, it just broke again, so I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is, which I will explain in a couple days, but for now, I have to fix the farm, which means I'm just going to raise it up a bunch of blocks and completely change the design, because that sounds like fun. So the main issue is I'm pretty sure it's because I used a drown. Drowns seem to have a very weird AI where I am, where they keep trying to go to a source that they just can't get to. They don't focus on me or the villagers or anything else. They just seem to be trying to go to one spot, which is very strange. So I just have to trap a normal zombie and use him. So I decided to turn my downstairs area that's currently empty into a makeshift mob spawner and hope I get a zombie from there. After a day of searching, I eventually got a zombie that I could actually use, and then I put him into the farm and it started working perfectly. So yeah, the main issue was I was just using a bad design, I think, which it's my fault because I used one directly from memory, so yeah. But yeah, I have an area still to drain, so I get to spend all my time draining, because that's the most entertaining content to watch. I was lying. Draining didn't really take that long, and I ended up finishing today. It's pretty quick when it's a smaller area, so yeah, that was nice. I spent all my time today flooring, and I did the flooring in the most inefficient way possible. I took a water bottle and I put it on dirt to make mud. That is the slowest possible way to do it. Yeah, I realized how inefficient using the water bottle method was and actually went to a mangrove forest and farmed up some mud, which, do this, don't be like me. I will say I'm really glad that I did the top of the base being glass because that looks awesome. Today was mostly just spent fixing up lights because I thought they looked pretty bad, so I wanted to make sure they were all lined up with the 4 pillars of my base. I started outlining the pit that I eventually was going to have a hopper minecart going on beneath it, so that way I could just throw all my stuff into the pit and then it would get put into my auto sorting system, just because I thought that'd be cooler than just putting it in the chest. Then after I was done outlining the area, I decided that it was time to put into the black concrete, so that way it would look like I was just throwing all my items into an abyss, I guess? I don't know, I just thought it looked nice. I spent most of the day just cleaning up chests around the base and moving them into my main storage area, aka the hole underneath my entire base. That was basically what I spent all day doing, and then I had to run back to the old base to grab some stuff. Now, what I ran back to the base for, I'm not gonna say. Just see if you can spot it from all of these windows, because I put it outside. It's pretty noticeable. Did you catch them all? I'll tell you, there's 4 of them. If you didn't, then go back and give me that watch time. Thank you. And with that, we're done with the final day of 500 days. So see you in 600 days. This is the outro. Like and subscribe and do all the other YouTuber stuff. Bye.